Heading into this regular season, the New York Rangers are definitely a team that, of course, are looking to get right back into the playoffs after missing them this past season. And with them looking to get back in, if they want to help their chances at doing that, they very well might end up looking to acquire another top six caliber forward, as it does kind of still feel like they're maybe lacking kind of one more kind of real big piece offensively to really kind of help drive the offense here. So in today's video, we're going to be taking a look and talking about probably the most kind of realistic trade candidate for the Rangers that, could be a realistic target that is a, kind of star caliber forward, someone who is definitely a all-star caliber forward who can be that top line level talent. He's a winger, of course, and this player really could be potentially a difference maker, real game changer for this Rangers team, and that, of course, is Jason Robertson. He, of course, has already had his name involved in a lot of trade rumors and talks over the last kind of months now, dating back till, last season, even last offseason a little bit, I guess. And also, of course, this past offseason as well, the one that just ended, we have seen a lot of trade talks surrounding Jason, and it's not too surprising why. This, of course, is a player that is on a team right now that don't have a ton of cap space going forward into the future. And if you really take a look at the players that are also needing new deals, they really are in a bit of a tough spot there cap-wise going forward into the future. This offseason coming up, so next summer, they're going to have three pretty big RFAs to sign back with not a lot of cap space available. Of course, first off, they're going to have Jason Robertson, who does have currently a $7.75 million cap hit, so that'll be coming to an end, of course, but he's going to be looking for a decent-sized raise. You're probably looking at anywhere from like $3 million in a raise up towards of like $4 million potentially, right? He could get somewhere around that kind of 11, 12 million mark potentially if he has a big season possibly, right? So this is a very talented player. He's going to get paid. He's going to get a raise himself, but also there are two other players that very well could end up getting some pretty big raises, and one player in particular is going to get a massive one, and that is Thomas Harley. This is someone who has broken out into one of the kind of top defensemen in the entire league, it seems like, and he's really just a great, phenomenal player. And this is someone who is young, of course, is an RFA, but he's going to get paid. He has really blossomed into kind of one of the better defensemen. He's taken some massive steps forward. He, of course, featured on Team Canada's, Four Nations face-off team there. He'll probably end up making the Olympic team, I'm sure, and he's just kind of really broken out. He's at a $4 million cap hit right now. That's going to possibly almost like triple potentially with the way the cap's going. I mean, maybe not quite 12 mil per season, but he could definitely get that 10, 11 mil mark with what guys like, Luke Hughes got, of course, his new deal, and Lane Hudson, so he's going to get more than those guys. He's better than them, so I would imagine it's going to be around that, kind of 10, 11 mil mark for his next cap hit, which is a lot of money there for the Dallas team that obviously doesn't have a lot right now. And then another guy like Maverick Bourque, who's making $925K right now, he's also an RFA, and if he has a pretty decent year, he's going to make at least another couple million. He's going to be at least around that kind of, 2, 3, 4 mil mark, which is just an extra few mil on their cap. So they don't have a lot of space right now, so trading away a guy like Jason Robertson would make a lot of sense there. And the Rangers do have a couple pieces that I do think, could be pretty enticing for a team like the Stars. As some of you may know, they are pretty loaded on the left side of their defense core, but are fairly weak on the right side, where, on the left side, they've got guys like Miro Heiskanen, who is truly one of the top defensemen in the entire NHL, a number one caliber guy. Then you've got a Thomas Harley, who's now kind of blossomed into a, top pairing caliber guy, maybe potentially going to be like a number one caliber guy as well, another phenomenal defenseman, right? You've got two top pairing, pretty much caliber left-handed defensemen, and then you've got guys like Esa Lindell, who's another really solid defenseman, a top four caliber guy, and even a Leon Bichelle, who's a former first-round pick of the Dallas Stars, is a Swiss prospect, only 21 years old, really kind of took a step last year, really played a lot of games, but obviously he's another kind of young, talented left-handed defenseman. So they've got four pretty good, talented left-handed defensemen: Miro Heiskanen, Esa Lindell, Thomas Harley, and Leon Bichelle. But then on the right side, they've got guys like Ilya Lyubushkin, Nils Lundqvist, and Alexander Petrovic. So it obviously drops off quite a bit. There's a pretty massive kind of difference there between the talent levels on the left and right side. So this is a team that maybe would be willing to go out there and possibly trade away a guy like Liam Bichsel maybe in a trade. And I would say Esa Lindell could be a potential target as well for a Rangers team, but he does have a full no trade clause for the next 3 years of his current contract. It's a 5 years left, but 3 years as the kind of full no trade clause. So I don't think he's a realistic target there, but I'm sure a guy like Liam Bichsel could potentially be. So maybe they'll be willing to get rid of a guy like Liam Bichsel, which I think the Rangers could look to target as they have an abundance of righties. They've got guys like Adam Fox, Braden Schneider, Will Borgen, and now in the AHL, a guy like Scott Morrow. So if you go out there and maybe ship off a guy like a Will Borgen or a Braden Schneider in a deal, you possibly get back a guy like Liam Bichsel, and then you also have some other pieces in the package as well, but maybe you potentially are getting Robertson and Bichsel back in a deal. You're shipping off Borgen or Braden Schneider, and then obviously some other pieces as well. But that could be a decent little kind of framework there for some kind of a package, and it might end up having to include a guy like a Lafreniere possibly. I'm not exactly sure how enticing a guy like that is for the Dallas Stars, but it could make a little sense here. And the reason why I say that is because Alexis Lafreniere already is locked up long term with that $7.45 million cap hit. So if a team like Dallas, who isn't in the best spot cap-wise right now, sees someone like a Lafreniere as a really nice kind of complimentary guy to go on a line with maybe a Mikko Rantanen or a, Roope Hintz or a Tyler Seguin or a Wyatt Johnston, whatever, or maybe he just wants to kind of have him slot in as a kind of replacement for, someone like a Jason Robertson. Well, that could be a pretty decent replacement there, whose cap hit is, $300K lower than what Jason's is right now, and he's obviously already locked up long term, because, the Rangers, if they're picking up, Robertson in a deal, they're going to have to go out there and give him that massive new deal, which is going to be, like I said, another kind of $3 million at least, or about that on top of what he's making right now, which would bring it up to about 10.75. So theoretically, if this kind of a trade happens here where you're basically shipping off about like $11-12 million in cap space because, a guy like Jason Robertson, he's going to make like 10, 11, whatever million dollars, something around there on his next contract. And then also the $918K for Liam Bichel's deal, which does have 2 more years, so this year and 1 more after it. So let's say that's about, 12 mil combined there. Jason Robertson's new deal and Liam Bichel's current contract with that $819K. Those two combined, let's say it's about 12 mil. You're obviously going to be getting back a guy, let's say in this deal, hypothetically, a Lafreniere with his $7.45 million cap hit, and let's say a Braden Schneider, because he's, I'm sure more valuable to a team like the Stars than a guy like Will Borgen is. Well, there you're getting back about a cap hit of, let's say, like you're looking at kind of like $9.65 million, which is obviously, let's say, about, 1.5, 2 mil less than theoretically what Jason Robertson's new deal could be, plus that Liam Bichsel cap hit. So you're saving $1.5 to $2 million in cap, but you're also getting back a kind of player in need plus some other assets, right? It wouldn't just be a 2-for-2 deal there where the Rangers are shipping off, Braden Schneider and Lafreniere, and they're getting back Jason Robertson and Liam Bichsel. And in this kind of trade package, I would imagine the Rangers would have to give up a little more. Now, I don't think it'd be a ton more, but it would probably have to be a little bit more. And also, I am kind of assuming that you'd probably be able to have some kind of a little bit of agreement, maybe with some kind of an extension there, possibly with Robertson beforehand. Now, maybe you wouldn't have that be the case because, of course, he is an RFA, so that does kind of make things a little easier where you'd have the kind of control of him, so you don't have to worry about him just kind of walking away. So there is that factor as well to kind of play into effect possibly, but I think either way, if you're looking at kind of a 2-for-2 deal there as that kind of main framework, a Lafreniere and Braden Schneider combo going for Jason Robertson and Liam Bichsel, I think that does make a lot of sense for both sides there for the reasons I stated, but I do think, like I said, the Rangers would probably have to give a little more there. I think a guy like Liam Bichsel and Schneider probably have pretty close, kind of about equal value there, I'd imagine, but a guy like Robertson obviously has a decent amount more value than a guy like Lafreniere, so that's where I do think the Rangers are going to have to give up a little more on top of what that 2-for-2 package is, but it wouldn't be a ton more, as I do think a guy like Braden Schneider probably has a little more value right now than a guy like Liam Bichelle, and of course Robertson would have more value than a guy like Lafreniere, so you'd have to kind of make things equal out there. But obviously, I think this package does make a little bit of sense for both sides. And I do think there is the possibility of, seeing a big trade go down there where we don't have to see Lafreniere go out the door there, especially if, by this offseason there it comes up and the Rangers, don't have a guy like Artemi Panarin signed to a new deal. Maybe they look to go out there and, keep Lafreniere and then go out there and trade for a guy like Jason Robertson just to more so be the, Artemi Panarin replacement. So there are some options. It's going to be a big kind of question right now, of course, on, which of these kind of still remaining top free agent options for next summer are going to, remain available, because of course, there was the opportunity of seeing guys like Kirill Kaprizov and Connor McDavid and Jack Eichel and Kyle Connor. Of course, those four massive names, they were available for a minute there, but of course now they're gone. They're off the board. So that's why I think if the Rangers don't go out there and bring back Artemi Panarin, this definitely could be a player that the Rangers absolutely target in looking to help kind of replace some of that offense that this team would absolutely be losing. And if I'm going to be honest, if we're talking about, signing one of these players here, to like an $11.25 million cap it, let's say, for the next 3 years for Panarin, or the next kind of 7 years or 6 years, whatever, for Jason Robertson, I'm leaning on the side of paying a guy like Jason Robertson that 6-year deal over a guy like Panarin, that 3-year deal, the same cap it. So I think if the option is available there to go up there and make a reasonable trade for a guy like Jason Robertson, and you can get back a Liam Bichelle on top of that, because we know this team could use another left-handed defenseman, I do think that could make a lot of sense for this Rangers team. And also, the framework that I laid out there definitely could make some sense for a team like the Dallas Stars as well. Anyways, thank you all so much for watching today's video. If you have enjoyed, definitely don't forget to click that like and subscribe button for daily New York Rangers content, as I do post a video about the New York Rangers every single day at 10 a.m. Eastern Time. And also, definitely don't forget to comment down below your thoughts on today's video. Do you want to see the Rangers go out there and trade for a guy like Jason Robertson? Would you rather see them wait till, this upcoming free agency next summer to see who's available to kind of, pick up that next kind of top player, top 6 caliber forward? Or would you rather just see them kind of bring back and re-sign a guy like Artemi Panarin to a new deal? Anyways, thanks for watching. Comment down below your thoughts. I'll catch you next one, and let's go Rangers.